Hello, 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 everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I coming through? Marvellous. So, yes, welcome back we're really in the, we're really running up to the climax here. I reckon we've got this stream and maybe 2 more left in Disco Elysium. Sorry I've been away the last couple of Fridays. Various events I've had to be dashing around to. And unfortunately, next Friday I'll be away as well, because it turns out it's Dragon Meet. But after that, we should be pretty clear sailing to the end. And I'll be honest, if we're not, I will probably, if there are further problems with Fridays after Dragon Meet, I might just arrange like a big final stream, see how that works. But for now, it's you, it's me, it's Disco Elysium. Oh, I'm quiet overall. Is that me and the game, or just me? Game is somewhat low too. Okay. Apologies for the... not much I can do about it from the looks of things. My thing is at the... irritating that I'm having to fuss with it on the stream. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna lower the game so that I am a little bit clearer over the game, but I'm afraid this might have to be it. Alright. Okay. What were we up to? Where are we? Oh, yes. We have to go attend Stephen's meeting. Sounds like an obscure live performance in a dirty underground bunker. An old poster hidden below new ones. Arno van Eyck.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Catch you later, Cindy.
As you approach the metal grille, you can hear several voices having what appears to be an animated discussion. This must be it. Beyond this door lies the beating heart of radical communism in Martinez. Somehow, the night air softens the smell of trash and sea brine. As the breeze pulls through the canvas like a shuttle through a loom, you catch a hint of something unexpected. Something earthy, warm, and burnt. The acrid smell of failure. No, that's just slightly burnt coffee. A smell you would recognize anywhere.
Just look at these pigs sniffing about after hours.
Why didn't you say the secret door was right behind you?
Must have slipped my mind. You know how it goes.
The metal grill is cool to the touch. You notice the lieutenant is looking uncustomarily anxious. His posture is rigid. His right hand hovers near the zipper of his jacket. He wants so badly to draw his armistice, but he also doesn't want to draw it.
You okay, Kim?
Oh, I'm fine. I was practically born to infiltrate underground communist cells.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. That's on me. You didn't miss much. You just missed me running up here.
Which is just to say, we should be prepared for any eventuality.
You can make out at least two separate voices. Two voices, both male, approximately early 20s.
Careful with those now. I have it. It's going to work. I can feel it.
The clang of metal reverberates all along the scaffolding. The voices coming from the other side fall silent. A pair of frightened hares cowering in some dark crevice of their burrow.
Who's there? Is that you, Maurice?
Are you all communists? I'm looking for some communists.
Who said communist? Did we say communist? Get out of here.
Listen, I've already built like 0.0001% of communism, but now I need to get organised. Can you help me?
For a moment, silence. A slight sensation of static electricity as before a storm. A miniature conference is taking place inside, and you are the subject.
What's the passphrase?
It's remember the braver and Abaddonese.
There's no response. You begin to wonder whether they've slipped out some back way. No, they're still there. You can feel them back there.
Alright. The key's taped to the back of the door frame. Just make sure you put it back when you're done, or we'll all be locked out. And do watch the concrete. It just kind of falls away, in places.
Charmant. After you, detective.
Have fun at your underground meeting, Pig. Hope it's a blast.
The two young men are either oblivious to or ignoring your entrance. Their attentions are fixed on whatever it is they're stacking in the middle of the floor. Matchboxes, it appears.
I think it's holding, Alexis.
It is. It's holding.
It's definitely not holding. Those matchboxes are stacked so haphazardly, it's like they want them to collapse.
Careful, careful. Damn, hardly any difference. You two, you are late.
They should know the meeting starts at 10 p.m. sharp.
There's a great deal of tension in this young man's shoulders, more than someone his age should bear. Meanwhile, his companion inclines toward him, eager to catch every word that dribbles from his friend's mouth. Just a moment. Could this be the former owner of a certain jacket you acquired recently?
Before we move on, do you recognise this jacket?
Hey, Esteban, isn't that your jacket?
It certainly looks like my jacket, Alexis. Where did you get that, gendarme?
No, I just found it. In a room.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. That's real Sarah Maritzian twill. Only old Sarah Maritzian communists and drug smugglers wear those anymore.
He is neither of those, of course. He is simply a poor student putting on airs. Also, he doesn't have the shoulders to fill out such a jacket.
See, Uli? It's just like Mazov wrote. How does it go again?
Those committed to the rights of property are those most apt to violate them.
I assumed it was Maurice who broke into my room to play a trick on me. I didn't think I'd actually been raided by the RCM.
There is surprise in his voice, naturally. But is that a note of excitement you also detect?
Why do you sound excited to be raided by the RCM?
Oh, gendarme, because this is perfect. Can you imagine the look on Maurice's face when he finds out the RCM has been kicking my door down?
He'll shit himself. Positively.
And now they've shown up in force to break up our meeting.
Something tells me these young men are not very experienced with law enforcement.
Hold on, we're not here to break up your meeting. We want to join your meeting.
The RCM wants to join us?
My partner, of course, is acting in a strictly personal capacity, not as an official representative of the RCM.
Interesting. Does that mean you've done the reading?
Uh-oh. No one said anything about reading. You'll just have to wing this one.
Kim, did you do the reading?
No, detective. The only reading I've been doing is right here.
He seems to be wagging the notebook at you, as though he suspects you may have forgotten why you're here.
I have not had time to seek out pretentious communist book clubs, nor have I done their reading.
It doesn't sound like they've done the reading, Staban.
Well, this is getting awkward. I'm not sure what you're expecting to find here then.
There's profound consternation in his voice. You suspect it's about something bigger than your not having done the reading.
Maybe they can explain themselves.
What were you doing with those matchboxes just now?
The young man frowns at the little pile of boxes on the floor.
Nothing, just messing around until the meeting started.
They're watching those matchboxes awfully intently for two guys who are just messing around. It's almost as though they were trying to create the most unstable structure they could, with predictable results.
What exactly are you two doing here?
In the most generous sense, I would say we're cultivating revolutionary consciousness.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But more specifically, we are running a reading group. The most rigorous and theoretically advanced materialist reading group in Martinaise.
Comrade Staban is a great discussion leader. One of the best at the university.
It's obvious they take this group of theirs extremely seriously. Whatever you do, don't compare it to a common book club. Yawn. Can you imagine anything duller than a bunch of Beano-clads yanking each other's knobs?
Is this where I can square off in theory combat?
We have been known to get into some spirited debates, but it's always in service of our larger intellectual and ideological project.
Precisely. We are not interested in senseless parroting. We like to read critically.
Within the contours of Mazovian historical materialism, of course.
I didn't realize they taught radical Mazovian theory in the universities.
Huh. As though you can call that pablum teaching.
One thing you learn quickly at university is that you're not going to find a real education in any lecture hall or discussion seminar.
We are post-attendance, basically.
Exactly. The only worthwhile part of the so-called École Normale de Revachol is the library. That's where we've made our greatest critical strides.
Okay, so what does your reading group actually read?
We study all the foundational texts of Mazovian theory, of course. Just last week, we finished the second volume of Puncher and Watman's Innocence of Capital.
Truly extraordinary.
And before that, we spent 6 weeks on State and Plasm.
Uh-oh. You can feel your attention span rapidly deteriorating.
We've also read Wertmüller's The Megastructure of History, and before that, Real and Reality.
Communist theorists love puns, in case that wasn't obvious.
Hablas un pain infernal.
The original Fizdale translation, not that watered down revisionist garbage.
Obviously.
But, of course, our special emphasis is on the theories of Ignace Nilsson and his followers, especially the inframaterialists.
Wait, who are these inframaterialists?
You're not familiar with him? It's pretty advanced stuff. You may not be ready for it yet, Gendarme.
Okay, but then who's this Ignace Nilsson guy?
Only Krasmazov's most trusted lieutenant, the evangelist of the revolution, and the founding father of the People's Republic of Samara.
It's hard to overstate how unimpressed he is that you've never heard of this world historical individual.
He also happens to be the greatest communist theorist after Mazov himself. It was Nilsson who first postulated the existence of ideological plasm, which forms the basis of inframaterialist theory.
The young man sighs. His companion looks about furtively.
Did this reading group have anything to do with the lynching?
Lynching? No. We're not an operational cell.
We think of ourselves as more of an intellectual vanguard.
Are you sure? My working theory is that communism killed the hanged man.
To be clear, communism is not an official suspect in this investigation, because it's not a person, you see.
Seems unlikely from a strictly inframaterialist perspective.
Comrade Ulix is right. The amount of plasm required to strike down an ideological enemy outright is enormous. We're talking second-level effects, at a minimum.
Or even third.
What are these levels they're talking about? This doesn't sound like any communism you've encountered before.
In any case, it's not like the SRV has established a party line on the subject of lynchings in Martinez.
The SRV refers to the People's Republic of Samara, established as a socialist utopia by survivors of the revolution. It has since degenerated into a bureaucratic workers' state under the decades-long rule of President Sapormat Sport Gelazinski.
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-tribes' dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? You feel like you're caught in some elaborate joke labyrinth, but it's impossible to see your way through. It's always that way. Beneath the crust of irony, there's a molten sincerity that threatens to erupt forth. You may witness it yet.
Is your reading group affiliated with the Union somehow?
No, we're an independent organization. We acknowledge and respect the Union's efforts, but our interests are more theoretical than Mr. Clare's.
So, what's your stance on crime in general?
That's easy. Crime is simply the inevitable expression of the injustice and incoherence embedded within capitalism itself.
Delivered with the smug assurance of a schoolboy reciting a maxim he's committed to memory.
It's a symptom, in other words, not a cause.
His companion can barely suppress a yawn.
Are there any operational communists in Martinez?
No, unfortunately. The communards were hunted down and killed nearly to a man. All that's left of them are bones and old rifles.
Like this one?
His companion's eyes widen as you hold up the ancient weapon. He's practically itching to stick that thing in someone's face and pull the trigger.
Yes, like that one. I wonder how many of these are still lying around in cellars or sealed up behind the masonry. Can I hold it?
Here.
It's heavier than I was expecting.
The attitude of a priest bearing one of the holy relics of his faith. Though it is long out of service, its power is evident to him. When he's finished, he returns the rifle to you with a nod of appreciation.
Where is the rest of the reading group?
What do you mean? This is the reading group.
Two's all you need. Me and Kim are the same way.
Kim and I.
Sorry, that one caught me off guard.
We're in something of a rebuilding phase.
Some of our former comrades didn't have the ideological fortitude our work demands.
Okay, but what happened to them?
Intellectual attrition is maybe the best way to describe it. Felix said he couldn't keep up with the reading on top of his classwork. And Susanna wanted to read text other than Mazovian theory. Like novels, if you can believe it.
Imagine the audacity of wanting to read a novel in a reading group.
Novels. Unbelievable.
See? Even a gendarme gets it.
We've tried recruiting new members, but unfortunately the current intellectual climate is pretty hostile to inframaterialist thought. These days, if you're on the left, the Ascendant schools are the Gottwaldians and their iconoclasts.
Don't forget about Maurice and the turnips.
Right. Then there was the whole turnip debacle.
Whatever this turnip business is about, one thing is perfectly clear. These young students have a much deeper understanding of communism than you do. You could learn a thing or two from them. If you can convince them you're one of them.
What about Cindy? Is she part of the group?
Cindy is... how to describe her role?
Something of an ideological auxiliary, perhaps.
Yes, that's exactly how I would put it. And naturally, we support her radical counter-liberal aesthetics.
But she refuses to submit an essay, so we can't call her a member of the group per se.
That doesn't stop her from using the room for studio space, of course.
What's so bad about the Gottwaldians?
They're the most depressing school of communism. They love writing long books with a patina of Mazovian theory to cover up their cheap psychologizing.
A gang of cheap psychologists and intellectual midgets. Typical Gottwalders, in other words.
It's okay for Uli to say that, because his dad is from Gottwald.
What's so depressing about their theories?
The Gottwald school believe that intellectuals as a class are incapable of sparking revolutionary change. So all they can do is critique capitalism from inside itself.
In other words, they have lost faith in their own relevance.
That's why they spend all their time smoking cigarettes and writing long works of criticism that make you want to commit suicide.
That sounds miserable.
It is miserable. That's probably why they're always committing suicide. You see, the Gottwald school look like communists. They talk like communists. But scratch the patina and you'll see beneath that they're just depressed liberals who've read too many books.
Okay, but what about the iconoclasts?
For starters, they love talking about beans.
What's wrong with beans? I like beans.
Oh, sure. But iconoclasts are obsessed with beans. They love thinking about beans. They love counting beans. But most of all, they love building models to predict how many beans there'll be in the future.
Nota bene, iconoclast is an extra pejorative form of the already pejorative name, Mazovian economists. a moderate school of Mazovianism which advocates the gradual transition to communism through carefully managed economic modernization rather than violent social revolution.
They're by far the most bean-centric school of communism.
Ah yes, the much maligned bean counters, ensconced in their think tanks and high-rises, believing they can save the world through a series of incremental, assiduously technocratic reforms.
I don't get it. Are the beans a metaphor?
If only. They've got all the beans accounted for in their asset sheets, their quarterly budgets, their future projections. But for some reason, there are never enough beans to go around. So we've just got to cut our bean rations in half.
And next thing you know, there are budget cuts, so now we've got to cut the bean rations in half again. You see, iconoclasts claim to be communists, but in reality they're just liberals with hard-ons for spreadsheets.
And what about the liberals? Are they liberals too?
Of course not. The only people who actually call themselves liberals are mouth-foaming reactionaries.
Basically indistinguishable from fascists. You'd need an X-ray machine to tell the difference.
Did you say something about turnips?
It's an unfortunate story. You see, our ex-comrade Maurice is something of an economist.
He's studying macro and microeconomics.
Wow, a real intellectual, it sounds like.
Right. So a few weeks ago we were discussing the extra physical capabilities of the revolutionary state. And Maurice said, what were his exact words, Ulex's?
It was unbelievable. He said, turnips don't care if they are grown by communists, moralists, or Vulcan. They grow just the same.
Basically, he was rejecting the whole foundation of inframaterialist theory.
What is this inframaterialist business they keep blathering about? You've never heard of anything like it.
Remind me what inframaterialist theory says about turnips again?
Simply that under suitably revolutionary conditions, crop yields naturally increase relative to non-revolutionary crops, which Morris somehow has the gall to deny.
Susanna said that he has been hanging out with some non-communists lately.
For us, the question boiled down to, if you don't even accept the basic ideas of Nielsen and inframaterialist theory, why are you in the reading group?
I totally understand.
Of course you do. It's pretty basic stuff.
So you expelled Maurice from the reading group over an argument about turnips?
Well, it wasn't so much that he was expelled.
He just quit coming. We haven't seen him around for weeks.
I've heard enough. Let's talk about something else.
Go ahead.
Is the reading group accepting new members?
We typically only accept new members once per semester. There's this whole process with essays and presentations on assigned topics. But given that we have some extra seating at the moment, I guess we could be convinced to expedite an application or two.
Steban, you can't be serious. For these gendarmes?
I am serious. As materialists, we've got to adapt to conditions as they are. Besides, he'll still need to pass the interview portion of the entrance process. Assuming he's even still interested, that is.
Somewhat bookish toad.
Is it getting warm in here? There seems to be a little pool of sweat forming in the depression of your lower back.
It's because I don't do well in interviews.
No, you're terrible at them. The thought of everyone looking at you, judging you, makes you want to heave, frankly.
Why am I getting so worked up? They're just a couple of kids.
Let's be frank. They're probably way smarter than you. You bet they've read more books than you can even name. Of course, if you're nervous, it wouldn't hurt to read another book or two. The hardest part will just be working up the nerve to ask without soiling yourself.
Everything all right, gendarme? You look a little green about the gills.
That's enough for tonight. Will you still be here if I have more questions?
Sure, we're here most every night. Maybe we'll catch you again.
Sleep well, gendarme.
Wasteland of reality. Congrats, you're sober. It will take a while for your body to remember how to metabolize anything that isn't sugar from alcohol. So you're going to be pretty ravenous soon. Eat plenty. You can expect your coordination and balance to improve in a couple of weeks. In 2 months, you might start sleeping like a normal person. Full recovery will take years though. It'll be depressing, and it'll be boring. Don't expect any further rewards or hand claps. This is how normal people are all the time.
Hang on, -1 Inland Empire, -1 Suggestion, and +1 Psych. Does that work out at... Huh, well. Coffee. At the bottom of the pot, an isle of black sludge rises from a shadowy sea. This poster reads, "Under the cobblestones, communism." This one says, "No war but class war." A rickety easel surrounded by pots of gouache. Cindy's, no doubt. Could it be the Phasmid? No, probably not. Try not to think about the cracks spidering out across the floor.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Catch you later, Cindy. Hey, Kofi from Alia Baxter. Hiya, have fun next week. It was my birthday on Tuesday. It was stressful as hell because essay work and room inspection took like 2 secs, but I have anxiety. But I had a lovely evening in the end with some takeout and chocolate cake. Oh, happy birthday. I'm glad you had a nice time. And Fitzy bought a coffee. Thank you very much. The low rumble of a bass beat. Your heart repeats it.
what is it?
How's the project going? I see that your neighbours have moved in, but all I hear is anodic dance music.
What? What did you say?
I said, how's the project going?
I can't hear you. The music is too loud.
The project, how is it going?
Oh, the project. It's not going well.
Why?
There's that guy. I need him to plug a 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input so that I can route the audio signal through the mixer into the speakers.
Why don't you just ask him?
He doesn't listen to me. He only ever seems to care about hardcore and Yekukata. A place to be, apparently.
I'll speak to him, see what I can do.
Thanks. Maybe you can get through his magic rhymes. Let me know how it goes.
Right, I'll let you work in peace now.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
I've thought about the discarded melody and came to the conclusion that Van Eyckler's lived around here.
J'adore! God is close by, but maybe he doesn't have good enough ears. Let me turn it up so we can lure him here.
Egg, can you please route Suna's signal through your speakers?
To the mega! Yeah! I can route it through auxiliary. What kind of a cable does she use? 3.5 or 4.5?
It's 3.5, no doubt about it. It's on the ground.
Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two don't mix.
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here. Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good, people!
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him. Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Egg, the music?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the on-off for just a sec. For a special scheduled event. The on-off will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. Alright, go tell her that Egghead is ready to rave to her tunes. And then I'll turn off the music.
Alright, goodbye, Egghead.
Yes, what is it?
Alright, I talked to Egghead. He plugged in the cable. You can now unmute your speakers.
Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in case.
Maximum! Maximum is the only way!
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is not the only way, okay?
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue style!
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to maximum.
See? He pumps it to the hard master. It's hopeless.
I think what Egghead is trying to say is that the volume button is stuck on maximum.
Of course it is.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment! Ray of sound!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready. Ready.
I'm ready if you two are detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Suddenly, your palms are sweaty. The church seems cold and large. Somehow, there's tightness in your chest. Anxiety.
Okay. Ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
No wind outside, no waves, no floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural. The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. Plasterwork begins to crumble down the walls. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It's out there now, in the world, made manifest. It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on? It's getting louder.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
In his mind, a tidal wave approaching from afar, swallowing entire coastlines on its way. Salvation.
It was in me at first.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously, his eyes searching for a possible evacuation route.
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars in the dark.
Come down to us! Love!
It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists. A great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it.
Oh, I want to dance with somebody!
Oh! I want to feel the heat with somebody!
Shit! Doesn't stop. A seal? Have you?
Yes, I've turned it off. Andre, pull the compressor. The place is gonna come down.
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here. It's...
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. It's coming down.
Egghead is in the desk!
And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore. You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time? This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswov isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now. Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now.
Kim,
That's a start.
did you hear that?
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. and you need to be very careful with it.
I promise, officer. We will not play it again.
What was that? I've never heard anything like it.
It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically, I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
A voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears adjusting after the exposure.
You're gonna write Sulislav?
Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear.
That it wasn't her fault. Or theirs.
They need to hear about this. Don't worry, I won't send the recording. Although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway.
What happens now? Are you going to...
Stay here. I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Sulispov. Also devise further measurements.
I want you to know that's totally chill with us.
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a lot in truth. For her, at least.
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown origins.
Some tiny hard thing lets go in your stomach. You're still alive. You have an explanation for all this. Somewhere deep in you, you know. The person you were knows. You don't have to. You already have. A long time ago.
Sooner. It is the origin point of the Pale.
What?
The swallow. It's how it starts. It's baby Pale.
But Pale isn't here. We're thousands of kilometers from the edge.
That comforts her.
No. We are 20 meters from the very edge.
She looks up into the darkness under the nave, then back at you.
The Pale is only an effect. A transition between the world and that.
Then what is that?
It's nothing. No, it's less than nothing. No.
It's less than nothing. The final rest state for reality. Imagine if all this never was.
Then the Pale is...
Simply a gradient.
But the gradient, it clearly hasn't started yet. We're here, and the Pale is not.
One day, when it's larger, it will be.
I understand. A theory of the Pale where instead of an outer ocean, it metastasizes. Like a cancer or a mold. Erupting in points inside the world.
This is one of those places.
According to this, how long...
Until it starts swallowing has already started. Starting with sound.
And information. Causing data losses in the East Insulindian front. Have you considered why it's formed in a church? And also when or how it might start growing, or if it has other effects in addition to sound and data?
An intellectual hunger fills her now, casting fear aside.
I also have a question, since we are piling them on. How do you know this? I'm not doubting you. I'm simply curious as to how a detective of the RCM
knows how to think this.
It didn't form in a church. The church formed around it.
Of course! A pine wood sarcophagus. Or a containment facility of some kind, built by the first settlers.
Yes, acting on an instinctual level, or religious practices we've forgotten.
I have considered the same. The bad news is, there were 7 pinewood churches built in the first decade of provincial settlement. Most of them were burnt down during the revolution, or repurposed before, during the suzerain. I'm not saying all of them have one in them, but
Some of them might. A black grain hanging in the air.
All the failed businesses in the doomed commercial area. All the failure in Martinez.
you think the presence of that puncture has somehow influenced the outcome of events here? Even, say, software development?
She already made up her mind when she heard it. Some kind of great and uncaring force had to play a part. It wasn't only them.
Yes, even the revolution was defeated here. I mean a kind of intrapenetic history.
I told the producers we need to go and move to a normal office building with amenities. But no, the artists like the milieu, the writers like the history. I told them.
No, it's better they don't know.
I told them. But no, normal office buildings are bourgeois.
I think I've had this thought before. That's how I know.
An amateur anthropomedic police officer. I'd like to say I've heard stranger things, but I'm not sure. This is a hell of a guess, however. Well worded, I might add.
Yes, it is very interesting. But I wouldn't say you know. This is a guess. One that's going to have to be proved by anthroponetic scientists.
One day all the world will be like that 2mm hole.
She falls silent. The wind blows in through the hole in the stained glass window, cold and moist.
I'm going to leave that out. But the rest, some of this I can use to start to explain this to the rest of the team. Maybe I'll sound mad, but
Man, you will certainly sound mad.
one more thing. Maybe a club for anodic music isn't the worst thing you can erect around this particular point in space.
Perhaps not.
Yeah! Once the light is on in the universe, it will never go out!
Thank you, Egghead. Let's leave it at that, shall we? We have an anthropomedic detection to perform in this district.
Right, I'll let you work in peace now. Someone's been walking around in your dreams lately, looking for something, tidying up, rearranging, storing away all the unrealized dreams, putting old pains in boxes. The worst nightmares have settled down for a while. A spot of light on the bedroom door after the dark. A fluttering of eyelids in the spring sun. A thought that arises, only to disappear again. And yet, there's a pattern emerging.
Good morning! Yeah! Harder car!
Whoa, that was a crazy sound we heard before.
Yeah! It was awesome and scary. Very hardcore. Too hardcore, in fact. I couldn't control it at all.
What happened?
It sucks up all the air in the mix until it's the only thing left. Starts compressing itself and everything around it. Completely fills up the headspace. Extreme!
Inside your chest, the heart beats still with the after effects of the sound. Imagine if you could harness that power, making it pulse.
What if this is the answer to Van Eyck's jam? We could use the sound for the bass.
Oh! Oh! But how?
What do we have around here to achieve some sort of parallel processing?
Don't have anything else to help with interfacing. No, I don't think so.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
Bzz, 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 goes the track in the background, never ending. You can't grasp what's missing, but you can try to make something up anyway.
Whereof one cannot speak, one ought to remain silent.
The young man bobs his head to the music, much as before.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
Sidechain the beat.
Sidechain? What does it even mean?
Listen, you can use the compressor to select between which track it's compressing, either the auxiliary signal or the main input from the tape. Make it alternate between the signals. The compressor controls the gain based on the level of the signal on the aux sidechain input. It will allow maintaining a loud sound without peaks that fill up all the headspace.
Okay, Egg, you need to start side-chaining it.
Sidechaining it, you said?
Then he puts on his headphones and his eyes go wide, wider than they've ever gone on drugs. He starts jumping up and down with bliss in total silence, still listening to his headphones.
Hey, what did you do to Egghead, Cop Man? Did you break him?
Just wait and see.
Are you ready, pussy?
Noid straightens his back, ready for the beat.
I was born ready, Egg.
The audio assault is glorious. The speed freak dances on the stage, intensely waving his hand in the
This is beauty! This is life!
What in the world is going on? The way melody and bass flow together, it's unnatural.
This one is for the anodic generation.
Introducing the ultimate sound!
We have tamed the sound, made it our own.
God damn it! This dance club idea might just work out.
DeLorean Church! The place to be! Pump it! Pump it!
Alright, goodbye, Egghead. Could these wires work as contact microphones?
Yeah, it's all set up, man. Can you already imagine 1,000 people in here? 10,000! Ecstatic vibrations, totally transcendent. And I've finished setting up the new compressor too. Now the only thing left to do is the name of the club. Will you do the honours, detective?
What do you propose as the name, Andre?
The name. Everything I managed to come up with sounds just wrong.
Andre's overthinking it.
Yes, you should do it, Detective. It would be good for the signs.
Noid's right. You've helped us so much. It's the right thing to do.
Kim, how would you name the club?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't build a club, and I wouldn't name it either.
An underground place with no name? Sounds like something the Crabman would say.
We're not going with anything the Crabman would say.
Why not? The Crabman has ideas, Estelle. Ideas from another level of consciousness.
I don't care. I don't like the Crabman, and I don't like his ideas. His ideas are spooky. Next, please.
So, what would you suggest as a name?
How about something simple? Like the club?
Too modern and too ironic. We don't want ironic. We want real. Real and true and beautiful. Like a morning after the rave.
Hey, kid, you must have a lot of ideas.
Yakukata! Yakukata! The place to be!
Yeko Qatar, the zone of ecological catastrophe. That's too morbid, Ed. Got anything else?
Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega!
No, it has to be bigger than hardcore. Yes, it has to be even bigger than hardcore to the mega. It has to be bigger than the scene.
Noid, give me your 2 cents on the issue.
The amnesia.
Like the... I can't remember the name of the club, Amnesia.
Amnesia!
It's not amnesia, guys.
Sooner, do you have an opinion on this?
I don't.
Good. We have too many opinions anyway.
I think I've come up with a name.
You have? Well, what's the name?
Disco Elysium.
Like that DeLorean word for the world, you mean? Elysium.
But Disco Elysium? Isn't it wacky? Disco's kind of gone, isn't it? Forgotten.
The past is the future, but the future is dead!
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful and brave. Like we want it to be.
And short. And memorable.
It's settled then. Everyone welcome to Disco Elysium.
The wind brings some snow in from the broken gallery. It wraps you in its embrace, cold and luminous. You should return to the mural soon, to the one that said, tomorrow is just a whisper away. Andre breaks into frenzied dance-like motion to celebrate the name. Someone turns up the beat. You should go with the flow. Join in on the experience. It feels good. It feels right. But what is this? What is this thing that Andre is doing with his limbs?
What are you doing, Andre?
I'm dancing.
That soft chord gyrating is supposed to be dancing?
We should talk about it. We should talk about your so-called dancing.
Yes, my man.
Talk? What is there to talk about if you can express yourself with moves? You close your eyes and
But just imagine the moves you could pull to this futuristic beat.
puts a grin on your face just to think about it. Even a failed attempt gets the juices flowing and repairs some of the damage done by battles lost. If you up the dose and truly dance, who knows what will happen? Salvation.
Goodbye, officer.
I need pluses. I need pluses to Savoir Faire. Do I not have any? Goodness. Aha. You know what? I'm save scumming this if I need to.
Good to see you.
You close your eyes and vacate your skull, leaving your brain to wonder, where did that little fluttering light go?
Total darkness. You sink down the darkest fathoms of your own personal deep, vertebrate by vertebrate, through the unformed skulls of your mind. Here it will begin.
Where did the music go?
Oh, don't worry. The music's still there. It's you who is gone. Nothing. Just the immaculate silence of your spinal fluid. Electrified.
It comes to you like a blue whale. You sense it stir the tranquility of the deep. A single note of bass passing through. Then it's gone. Back to El Silencio.
This is where the beat plunged. It will resurface soon. Brace for glory.
Where did the church go?
Who fucking cares?
I hate waking life. I hate this world. I hate and fear everything. All I want is to dance. Please, God, just let me dance.
God? Where is your God?
What was that about? Unformed skulls.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every vertebrae in your spine is an unformed skull ready to pop up and replace the old one. Like shark teeth. The one you're currently in has a little brain forming in it, waiting for its turn. To rule the world.
Oh my God, is that true?
Yes, it's all true. In the spinal cord.
What do you want?
From what I can see, it's about to bust a move.
Foolhardy! Do you even know what's happening on the surface? Maybe 1,000 years have passed. Or maybe you started spazzing out like 2 seconds ago.
With your eyes still closed, the first thing you feel, all the way back in the pivoting darkness of your own torso, is warmth. You have become a triumph of rhythmoplastics, somewhere in a smelly wooden church on the coast of Revachol. The wounds from the war you waged on your body are healing, twist by twist, turn by turn. You have become a flawless interlocking mechanism, a flesh and bone approximation of the throb coming from the speaker setup of the one called Eggheads, entirely, rigidly imbecilic, without pity or fear. Free from self-awareness, no deliberation, only, and I mean only, execution.
Oh my God! No way!
This is really happening!
With his reel-to-reel mixer blasting the anthem of a future that will never come, the young man observes your moves for a second. He throws a screwdriver and a bunch of drill chucks into the corner and explodes into dance. What he lacks in sharpness, he more than makes up for in violent enthusiasm.
What are you doing?
slightly and raises her chin, looking at you expectantly.
Assume? Aren't you going to dance?
No, recording.
The lead programmer throws the other young woman a knowing glance before turning her attention back to her own work. She's still at her mainframe, pressing buttons, reading printouts, but she started nodding her head along to the music.
Dance! It's the law!
The young man immediately bounces up and down, then assumes the same dance pattern, embellishing it with some sort of waving motion. The authority of the law is clearly unquestionable.
Kim, get in here!
What's going on here? Delinquents.
This is clearly a Code 31 emergency.
Code 31! Code 31!
The lieutenant squeezes the bridge of his nose. The lights reflect off his glasses. He's obviously having trouble adjusting to this new reality.
The Code 31 emergency? Really?
Yes! Officer in need of assistance! On the dance floor!
The lieutenant crosses his arms with a bemused look.
What's happening?
I'm not doing anything! The music made up its mind a long time ago. I'm just implementing!
Good for you. Rock on then.
Somehow, you manage to hear him sigh.
Hey! I called you to dance.
What?
I did say there was an emergency on the dance floor, did I not? The emergency? Not enough Kim!
Ah, come on, hurry.
Did that just cheer him up a bit? Could be. It feels like the lieutenant cracked a little smile there. Who's the one in charge? You are.
Lieutenant, I'm only gonna pull rank on you one time, and that time is now.
Are you kidding me?
I assure you I am not. Now get your groove on, Lieutenant!
Get my what on?
I said, get your goddamn groove on! Boogie woogie!
Sheesh, okay. Okay, you psychopath. I see what you're doing there. It's jacked up footwork, plus is that Ubi folk dancing?
Nah, it's not Ubi folk. It's hardcore.
Yeah, whatever.
You talk a big talk, Lieutenant. Let's see some moves!
Oh yeah? I did 15 years in the juvenile crime unit. I can do age inappropriate. Now, check this shit out.
The lieutenant begins to heel kick the church floor with such intensity, it's reasonable to fear he'll kick a hole right through it, causing the floor to crack and the pillars to collapse, bringing the church roof down on all of you. It doesn't look like he'd give a shit either.
Is there anything more I can do? I want to break the limit.
The dynamic motion of your flailing body is bordering on the extreme. You're going off the charts. You feel as if turning on the hyperdrive will be a point of no return. Feels almost melancholy. Are you sure you have the entire posse along for this?
Together, where are you?
Here we go again. Hardcore fills the air. The sound above my head.
What now? The sound above your what?
Above my hair, man.
Okay, this is too imbecile. Excuse me.
On the coast of the Martinez Inlet, in a small weather-beaten stave church built 380 years ago by settlers from the Occident, most likely to guard against an anomaly at its center, an officer of the RCM is contorting his body into idiotically rigid shapes as he invents the future of dance music. It's the hardest anyone has ever danced.
What is this strange feeling I keep having? It's cold, even now.
I am La Rebachelière. I am the city.
What do you mean, you are the city?
I am a fragment of the world spirit, the genius Loki of Revachol. My heart is the wind corridor. The bottom of my air is red. I have 100,000 luminous arms. Come morning, I carry industrial dust and let it settle on tree leaves. I shake the dust from those leaves and onto your coat. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you with her. And I've seen you without her. I've seen you on the crescent of the hill.
How are you talking to me?
The modulations of my voice are noted down with thermometers and barometers. You feel me in your nostrils, on the little hairs on the back of your neck. I also reside in your lungs and vestigial organs. Everywhere there is space.
But who am I? Why are you talking to me?
You are an officer of the citizens' militia, Jaunt in Rebut. When you wear your coat, you wear my soul. You move through my streets freely, in motor carriages and on foot. You have access to the hidden places. You also circulate among those who are hidden. I need you. You can keep me on this earth. Be vigilant. I love you.
An officer of the RCM is lying on the floor of a small church with his eyes rolled back and his tongue lolling out. Several others are standing around him. He slowly comes to.
Had a good rest there?
I spoke to the city of Revachol.
Fuck yeah! I bet you did. Those were some advanced moves, man.
That's all great, but we should really get going. We spent enough time doing aerobic exercise for today.
You might be imagining it, but it feels like Egghead turned the volume down. Such is his respect.
Man! Now, man! Now imagine if we could do that, right? But with like 1,000 people.
End of human development. Mission complete.
Yes, my mission here is complete.
Hope I remember those moves, man.
Don't worry, man. I'll remember them.
It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Good night, Kim.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Looks like this is my new home. Wonder where the old one went.
Westward, across the canal, towers the whirling in rags. Door number 1 on the second floor is locked. Behind it lies a trashed room. 1 floor below, behind the counter, stands an irritable man. In a small shack in the fishing village, a baroque heater hums quietly, emanating a sense of comforting warmth. A wash basin lies on the table, the water inside reflecting the somber face of the world. Far away, on the corner of Perdition and Main, a nondescript building, obscured in a haze. It's vacant and lost, just like its tenant.
This feels like a cozy hideout.
Who are you talking to? There is no one here, not even cold.
Thank you, strange sensation, for a fair assessment of the current situation.
Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Revachol forever.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is. A regular, clean-shaven police officer. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
Dark shore my ass. I know what this is.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
Okay, so I'm a murderer, and that's bad.
Hear that? He doesn't even flinch. Iceman doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Blackwater, under the bridge. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
What is it?
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
Why are you doing this? I just want to sleep. I can almost see the dark.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream. The worst of them all.
The last dream.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
don't want to anymore. I don't want to think either one of those things.
Oh, but you will. You're already going there. Slipping. How long can we keep you from the precipice? One more dream? 2 max, baby. Then it's...
And the air will smell of apricots.
Of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay.
Doesn't sound like it will be okay.
Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.
If you're enjoying this, by the way, please do drop a Ko-fi to ko-fi.com/Johnny and Sasha. I know that we're winding down, but the mods still deserve to get paid, and I am having a very good time actually with just cruising through Disco Elysium. What shirt?
Yes?
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
Real quick, boys. Where were you when you heard the voices?
There. We were there.
Ha! I knew it.
Full circle. Back to Feld, then. When you're ready.
The boy turns the rock over in his hands.
Bye,
He looks
kids.
to you, then his brother, then back to you.
Take care.
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Let's see. Just flicking through the index of your knowledge.
Cool. No rush.
We have, radio brands, radio crimes, radio comedies, radio dramas, radio physics, radio psychics, radio scandals, radio shows, and way more in between. But nothing that would be useful here. Sorry.
I know about ULAN frequencies. Does that help?
You know little about ULAN frequencies other than that they exist. Maybe? It's
Radio
impossible
is
to say.
killing the fucking cop star. Come on.
Let's move on. I don't think we need to stand around anymore.
Apologies. You just need time to remember. There has to be something there. Go do other things around the coast. That might help. The once bright mural towers above you, saying you know a lot about radio. Enough to know you have no idea how or why those boys heard Speed Freaks FM in their heads. Knowledge like that isn't just obscure, it's unknowable. Dangerous theoretical facts like that are probably protected under the coalition government's Articles of Dominion, Title 14, Article 7C. While an expert might be able to suss it out on their own, a layman like you has no hope. You don't know how it happened, but the stores of your knowledge are vast, and there is something crucial in them.
What's that?
You know where Ruby isn't. She isn't in the fishing village. She's not with her bullet under the floorboards in the shack. So where could she be? The alcoholics never mentioned seeing Ruby either. Idiot Doom Spiral gave an exhaustive account of recent events, but never mentioned seeing Ruby. You've searched the whole coast for Morel's traps, just as you didn't find the Insulindian Phasmid. You did not find her. You've even entered the church, helped the ravers set up a nightclub, and overheard. Well, we don't need to think about that. Point is, some criminals seek sanctuary from sacred buildings, though the sanctuary laws were abolished decades ago. But Ruby wasn't such a one. And you were probably right. The ULAN frequency is likely connected to all this. Ruby dabbles in advanced radio theories. The Speed Freaks FM case is a radio mystery. That may not be a coincidence.
So I was right. Ulan, she is here.
That isn't a fact yet, but it's a compelling suspicion. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you, in her breath, flowing through it.
Where does it go?
In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk. Its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
What is happening?
She's down there.
I think she's down there, below this building.
Okay, why?
The wind told me.
So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically.
Finally, my time to shine.
There's a ladder next to the sign. Perhaps we can climb it, even enter through the roof.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
There has to be a way to use brute force. Climbing sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break if the ladder fails. An old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotting boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the fell building? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions. Perhaps a basement access. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder.
Could we get into the fell building through this pipe?
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around.
The lieutenant's face lights up. He doesn't usually notice these little things.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
It's jammed shut. The subtle approach isn't going to work on this one. Oh yeah, big boy time. This needs you to put your back into it.
What's in there?
The pipe is sleek with rain.
Okay, what else?
As your eyes adjust, you see some trash. Crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side.
And
nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe.
Oh, wrong one.
Behind the pipe, the maintenance door, rusted shut and half sunken in sand. Behind the pipe, you and the lieutenant lean all your weight into pushing the doors apart, but you're not quite synchronizing your efforts. They slam shut again before you can enter.
Let's take a breather and try this again later. It's very tough.
A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground? And you're 180?
190. I'm a giant.
Okay, but still, the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to do something more subtle? What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder? Astral projection. Be open-minded about this.
What if I don't climb? What if I just teleport?
Teleportation is not a thing.
Come on, Kim. Where's your adventurous spirit?
This really has nothing to do with adventure. We are dealing with basic physics here.
It won't hurt to try.
Oh yes, it could hurt. A lot.
He is restraining himself from using a parental tone with you right now. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is... Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle! It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Okay, well, that's impressive, but...
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
I did it, Kim! I teleported!
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it like a regular person.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear...
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
The central support beam has been destroyed by artillery fire. The glass is covered with grime and dust. You can barely see out. Postcard, Martinez, 98. A faded picture postcard from the end of the last century shows Martinez as it was during the Revolution. It's the height of summer. Rue Saint Lane is teeming with parasol-wielding bourgeoisie, and wild pines flags buttress the walkway. Nothing is written on the back. Antiquated office furniture. Last century, maybe? Brought down and forgotten so long ago. This collapse nearly sealed the basement. One can barely squeeze by. This overturned table is covered in orange mildew, crawling with something.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
Who's there?
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
It's much easier from this side. The panels on the rails slide once you dust the sand off. With the help of your partner, from the other side, the doors open with a creak.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that.
You ready?
Yes. Time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way to do that.
Old file folders in the carts. Documents silvery with mould. In the beam of the flashlight, a crevice in the wall. Stale fabric smell and dust. No one slept here in months, maybe years. Revolutionary's hat. Revolutionary propaganda on the bunk bed, ancient flyers and brochures. These pots and plates are full of dust and spider webs. You can see the beach through this slit window.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary. This does look like an embrasure, a slit made for shooting out of. Outside the window, another day. The beach sand soaks up the drizzling rain, growing darker and darker.
Could the killer have used this as a hideout?
It's a great place to hide, certainly. But there hasn't been anyone here in ages.
Kim, I can't see the whirling in rags. The shot didn't come from here.
Indeed. No one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough. I like thorough.
The lieutenant's voice betrays a slight disappointment, which he glosses over by reasserting control. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand, grains sticking to the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Look, Kim, it's Comrade Marsov.
Yes, I can see that. Looks like some communists were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
The lieutenant does not seem to share your enthusiasm.
A long time ago. How long?
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted.
What's with all these secret weapon caches and secret bunkers?
We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
Maybe I should move in here. Seems cozy.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case.
Could it be connected to the Marsov bust we found in the student's room?
Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff.
Could someone have stopped through here recently?
You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
Let's go. Oh, we've had a couple of Kofis. Kofi from Honeybee Charm. It is very rainy outside and I am drawing and watching stream. I hope everyone is having as cozy a Friday as I am. Also, the world building in this game is awesome. It really is, isn't it? Oh, Blahai bought a coffee, thank you. And Haunted Coyote bought a coffee. Kofi from Lazy Kiwi. Hello, my good news is that our new bathroom is finally finished. Was not fun for the cats as they don't like strangers and have been hiding for 2 days, poor things. Have a good weekend, everyone. Well, hopefully the strangers are gone now and the cats can gradually reassert their control over the house that most definitely belongs to them again. A muted brown suit jacket, perfect for a day at the office or an evening at the cafe. The red rose in the bottom of the left breast pocket is slowly wilting. An Ushanka with the Mazovian logo, a pair of deer antlers on a silvery white front. Your ears feel cuddled and cared for by the state. A series of thick, dusty panes of glass. Boot prints in the sand. One of the soles appears more worn than the other. There's something in the air. An unnatural buzzing. The tunnel collapsed. You'll have to find another way around. It's getting louder, the buzzing sound.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
Lieutenant, do you feel something?
No. What do you mean?
A pain, a strange tingling.
I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh.
Hold on, you really don't feel anything?
No, but you are the sensitive one.
I saw them too, footprints with the right sole worn smooth.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully.
What do you mean?
Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinaise. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace and it will start breaking down uncontrollably. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
How bad do you think things could get?
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
Let's try not to worry, he thinks. If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
What do you think is waiting for us there?
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
A concrete pipe buried in sand and dust. Polar anorak. +1 composure under the polar lights. +1 shivers. Gift from La Revacholière. Layers and layers of polyvinyl and artificial sheepskin make this coat ideal for traversing snowy plains on dog sledges. Somehow you knew it would be waiting for you underground, in a sunken pipe, and you found it. It's as if the city gifted it to you, to keep you safe.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
The voice coming through the whirlwind of pain is not malicious. She doesn't want to hurt you, but she has to. Doesn't wish to hurt you, not according to your ear canals. Wait, no, not even your ear canals. This is going directly into your neural pathways. That's an awful decision. Why would you not want to shield yourself from it? It's an entirely new type of experience. Way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
You're under arrest.
Really now? Check this out.
You're overwhelmed with a new surge of violent static. It feels like a blood vessel exploded in your brain.
Are you gonna kill me too?
No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing is the ULAN frequency, blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
I saw your equations. It's the ULAN frequency.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at.
You should probably check on Kim. That's what good partners do.
Right behind you, officer.
A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
This must be how the twins heard the radio in their heads. They must have been standing by when she tested it. She's been holed up in here for a while with no one to talk to. Keep her talking, and you just might get an opportunity to break loose.
Have you experienced the compressor yourself?
Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through.
This is all great. Well, let's talk about the man you killed.
Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops, and of herself merely as prey.
How did you get your hands on this thing?
I built it myself.
And she's proud of it too, as she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Way beyond.
Will I stay like this forever?
No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream.
Please, could you just turn it down so I can ask you something?
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise. God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a two-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. Just keep her talking, and you'll get through this. There's only 3 meters between you and the machine. If you keep her distracted for long enough, maybe. Be careful when you make your move. That'll be it for questions. Bide your time.
How did you know we were coming?
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while.
By hiding bullets under floorboards.
So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised.
Her tone is bitter. She thinks she's been betrayed.
She didn't rat you out, by the way. Isabel, the washerwoman.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back.
Prepared for the worst?
I was. Before I caught you in the pale latitude compressor. I'm fine now.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit. It was dark in the shack. The waves outside had calmed down. She looked at the loaded gun, then she cracked the barrel open and took the bullet out. Not today.
Did you shoot Laylee?
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first.
When I threatened to arrest her, Glacia broke. She told me everything.
Oh. Well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me?
Titus told me. It took some convincing.
Oh, fuck. Took some convincing my ass. And those guys liked me, I know it. This is what happens to people whom people like.
A dull despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck did the rest of you get by?
Wait, wasn't it you who called me the human can opener? It's not personal, I opened them up.
I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same.
That did make her forgive them. A little.
I do it by asking questions, and I have some for you.
Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
Do you have an alibi for when Laylee was shot?
Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon you.
They did say you left to take a really long leak. 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time.
Our investigation has shown that 15 minutes was just enough time to commit the murder.
Wow, now I'm curious. Please, explain.
Play pinball much?
No, not since I was 14 and hanging out in the only diner in Dardun. Haven't been into low-risk, no-reward games since moving to the city. Why?
Never mind the pinball, then. There's a secret way from the whirling bar to the roof.
Don't know it, but also... the shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
That didn't go super well. You've got to lay something better on her.
Do you like to hang around on rooftops?
Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Claudia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna.
Is that the only reason you hung out on the roof?
The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Claudia.
What's so great about her antenna?
It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival.
So you're sure you didn't shoot the merc from the roof?
Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar.
You liked Classia a lot.
I considered her a good friend, yeah.
You wanted to be more than just friends.
Oh, so that's where you were going with this.
She said you wanted to run away with her.
That's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts we didn't want to catch up with us, and we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip?
The lieutenant watches her expectantly, occasionally shaking from the pain.
Okay, fine. I was into her. Claudia was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it.
Then what happened?
She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on. I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on.
No ill will there. It wasn't a problem for her.
Classia said you got very angry when she started seeing Laylee. Threatened her.
Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were. I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy.
By the way, DeLorean tragedies are still held in high regard for innovation in language and motifs. They are also known for overwrought emotions leading to catastrophic outcomes.
Is peeping one of your hobbies?
Wow. Pissing, pinball, and now peeping. I'm just not following your insinuations, Detective.
It's just the hole in Classia's wall is pretty suspicious.
Look, I'm not aware of any hole in Claudia's wall. And if I had been, I would have told her to get it sealed. That's what friends do.
So you haven't been watching Classia through a hole in wall?
Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. That je ne sais quoi that makes it impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, for the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable.
And despite everything, you helped her by staging the lynching.
Yeah, the girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer.
There are other things I ask about.
Go ahead. It's your body.
And mine too, he thinks. But keep on. This must be done.
Did you leave any flowers for Classia on the roof?
No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style.
They weren't just flowers, they symbols of revolution.
So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on.
Classia was mourning.
I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too.
Okay, so you didn't leave Maybells.
No, I did not.
You're running drugs for the Union. I've been through your lorry.
So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician.
That really comes as a blow to her.
No, he didn't. I found my own way in.
Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking?
Beneath it, she's relieved Tommy didn't betray her.
You had a financial incentive to kill the merc.
Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the Union.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
But you're threatening us with it.
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum.
There's a sinister note in her voice. Even with the gun and the compressor, she's afraid of you.
Okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah? Where?
More questions before doing anything.
What happened Sunday night? Tell me your version.
She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasya comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her.
Klasya said you knew something was wrong immediately.
No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
Klasya said you seemed to have a plan prepared when you got there.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea.
She looks shaken. She wasn't surprised to be ratted out, but framed.
Her idea?
Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy boys.
Klasya knew exactly what she was doing. You can't remain calm under pressure otherwise.
That's bad that she'd be so calm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed.
Do you think she killed Laylee herself?
As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried this lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going, fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me.
Who killed the merc if it wasn't you?
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claus's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while.
If you didn't kill him, why hide?
I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
That strange, distant fear is getting close now. It's a fear of yourself.
What do you mean, La Puta Madre agent?
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Bullshit, you're trying to throw me off. No one says that.
Oh yes they do. The cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Tell me, what's my name? If you know that about me, you must know my name.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
Did someone mention a fucked up tie? I call bullshit! You're too crazy to be corrupt!
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the take. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time. I don't know. Sounds pretty convincing to me.
La Puta Madre, I've heard of La Puta Madre. He's dangerous, right?
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both.
No, that was a real question.
Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough.
What did you do to this Madre anyway?
You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
She's not going to change her mind that easily. She still perceives you as a threat. Wait, one thing, possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural?
When I came into town, was there anyone with me?
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway?
Who was in this squad?
Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either.
What else can you tell me?
One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally. Satellite Officer Whitmere looks out of the window grimly, then puts his coffee down and turns to Patrol Officer Minnow. We could either take a room here in the Whirling or go home for today. Let's go home, Jean. Nothing's going to happen today, she responds quietly. Jean takes his blonde wig off. Call Heidelstein. He can give us a ride.
I think I know them. They're in Marnaise.
Friction, lock, set.
Don't leave me here! Please delete!
Fantastic. I've got to get on the road. Then you can go find your friends. Unless you have anything pressing to ask me.
Do you know about the bunker next door?
What bunker?
It's the place some comrades stopped through a revolutionary bunker.
Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
Keep calm. Breathe in. After the pain recedes, it's a little clearer. compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
You okay, Kim?
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it.
What are you doing?
Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun...
Oh, yes it is.
You should know the words to say. You've been here yourself. So why is it not coming to you?
Why am I standing here like an idiot?
Because you've been going around pointing a gun at yourself, trying to answer the same question in vain. Her finger squeezes the trigger now.
But she doesn't deserve to die like this.
No, wait. Finally, it comes to you. A way to connect with her.
I know your pain. I've been let down by women too.
She flashes you an incredulous grin. Then she exhales sharply, shakes her head, and pulls the trigger. You watch as her brains trickle out through her neon hair.
She killed herself. I failed to talk her down.
Lieutenant Yefreitor Dubois, control your emotions. We did our job. This won't be the worst thing that happens on this case, believe me. You can't let this break you.
There is no coming back from this one. It will stay with you in nightmares.
I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Okay, you said it. You needed to say it. Now it's been said. We need to clean up.
Okay. Okay. What do we do now?
We clean up. It may take days for processing to pick up her body. We need to move it somewhere. That tent there.
Oh, rough place to end it, but oh, holy shit, I'm so sorry, Jester. I didn't realise we'd gone so horrendously over the end. Kofi from Shiny Happy Goth, you did it, you achieved Disco Elysium. I'm really sorry, Jester. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Yeah. Bye. Oh, there won't be one next Friday. I'm at Dragon Meet. But